Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel. We have some very interesting top stories today as it concerns the culture war and the continuing battle on President Trump. We start things off from the Daily News. Supreme Court downplays report that Justice Gorsuch wouldn't wear a COVID mask to protect Justice Sotomayor's health. So, Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor and Neil Gorsuch are both seeking to downplay a report that they are feuding over Gorsuch's refusal to wear a face mask to protect against C-19. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. The highest court in the land, part of our executive branch in our government, the highest court, now being plagued with culture war, mask marauders attacking the justices now over a story that Justice Gorsuch would not wear a mask to be concerned with Sotomayor's health, which is, of course, the narrative that is constantly being pushed by the left, that there is some flagrant disregard, that people who don't wear a mask are intentionally doing so to harm other people. But let's take a look at the reality of it. Ironically enough, you guys know that I use multiple sources. So I'm just waiting for that tweet, that comment, that post from someone somewhere across social media to ask me why I quoted from Fox News. But you guys know, those of you who subscribe to the channel, those of you who are regular viewers of the channel know that I get material from all sorts of sources. As you'll see as we continue into this video. Fox News, NPR, reporter fumes over Supreme Court statement refuting outlet's story, implies Gorsuch and Sotomayor lied. That's right. Chief Justice Roberts, as well as Gorsuch and Sotomayor, have disputed NPR's reporting about supposed mass feud. Oh my goodness, not NPR, National Public Radio, engaging in disinformation and misinformation. Oh my, I wonder if they're going to get suspended on Twitter. Don't worry, I'm not even going to look. They're not going to be anywhere near remotely suspended for misinformation or disinformation. An NPR reporter appeared to call Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch and Sonia Sotomayor liars on Wednesday after they issued a joint statement disputing a recent NPR report as false. Oh my goodness. Not only was the Biden administration handed the big L over the vaccine mandate, NPR, National Public Radio, or I like to call not pro-Republican radio, got hit in the shorts big time, not only from Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch, but from Sonia Sotomayor, the left-leaning justice, as she is often identified, ironically enough, called out NPR on their misinformation and disinformation. NPR reported the conservative justice refused to wear a mask on the bench despite requests to do so, but Gorsuch and Sotomayor issued a statement calling it a false story that surprised them. As the joint statement spread across the media industry, NPR reporter David Gura raised eyebrows by declaring the justice's statement was at best false, while he condemned reporters who passed it along. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Here we go. And we see this tweet here from David Gura. I surprised at how many, really? Interesting? Okay. This is what it says. I surprised at how many Supreme Court correspondents I admire are passing along a statement from two justices that is at best false without any context whatsoever. Oh my goodness. NPR getting called out. But it doesn't end there in the culture war, ladies and gentlemen. The premiere of this video, of course, centers around the new carrot on the stick, as I like to call it, as we call it here on the BuzWeaver channel. As you know, we know here that the Democrats, working alongside the mainstream media, tech giants, and activists, along with special interests, have always dangled the carrot on the stick in front of Trump detractors that at any moment, any day, any hour, any week, any month, Trump was going down, and the carrot on the stick continues. From the Daily Beast. Oh, here we go. The Daily Beast. I wonder how many comments I will get from people saying, oh, you're quoting from the Daily Beast. Oh, that's excellent news. Of course, the Daily Beast being extraordinarily left, but I digress. New York Attorney General, we found significant evidence of Trump organization fraud. Now, keep in mind here, we have mentioned this before when, well, the same material we've covered actually before on the channel. And this is being emphasized and spread across mainstream and social media. We'll get into that here in just a moment. But I wanted to say, as I have said before when we covered this particular topic, that no president in the United States has ever been indicted. That's former presidents or current presidents have ever been actually indicted or charged in any sort of a crime. Now, this will probably continue because, of course, the institution of the presidency is the seat of our government. It is the esteemed position of our leadership within our government. So I would not anticipate that the office of the presidency would ever be mired or smeared by a president being indicted or even prosecuted. And of course, I mean, at best, many of the things that people see pertaining to Trump are just perceived slights. They hate the man. They don't like him. They will look at any tiny, minute incident and turn it into, mountain climbing over molehills. And this is what we see here, of course. This is just sad. But I wanted to bring it to you so you guys could see that this was still going on. New York Attorney General Letitia James asked a court late Tuesday night to compel Donald Trump Jr., and Ivanka Trump to testify under oath, saying that her office's investigation into Trump's organization had uncovered significant evidence of fraud. Now, you guys may remember in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial that the attorneys were a bit reluctant to have Kyle speak, because what this does is if you get someone on the stand, of course, then the defense or the prosecution can go into the witness and say things to maybe trigger them to say certain things or admit to certain things, or they will frame wording and use clever devices to try to implicate or make the people look foolish. Attorneys are very good at this. And if you watched any of the Kyle Rittenhouse, case, you would see how many times the judge had to get on to the attorneys or particularly the prosecution or the state for the way they were wording things, the way they were framing things, even going so far as to be almost ignorant of the law, if for no other reason, to be a dog whistle to those watching who may not understand how the law actually works. And so the judge got onto the attorney to suggest, this is common law that you're trying to suggest wasn't practiced or isn't followed. Individuals for example, are able to obtain attorneys and things like that. So very basic stuff. So she's angry, and she's basically calling out. And all this is just a call out to Trump. This is just to call him out, to call the family out. These individuals have little to no regard, very little decorum when it comes to individuals. They hate Trump. They want to embarrass Trump. They want to keep a dark cloud over his head. The establishment and the left are terrified that President Trump can and probably will run in 2024. So they are doing everything they can to make President Trump look as bad as possible. Now, when it comes to these things, they call it lawfare. It happens very often to Alex Jones. And basically what happens is individuals file lawsuits against the individual, if for no other reason than to make that individual have to counter the lawsuits and then have to pay fines to the courts for the investigation, the processing, and the filing fees and court fees, if for no other reason, just to irritate the other individual. It's a very, very pathetic and sad practice, but it does go on all the time. James said in a tweet, we have uncovered in a tweet, think about that, in a tweet on social media, is how she's getting out this intentional culture war information. James said in a tweet, we have uncovered significant evidence indicating that the Trump organization used fraudulent and misleading asset valuations on multiple properties to obtain economic benefits, including loans, insurance coverage, and tax deductions for years. Now, look, ladies and gentlemen, look. Businesses, corporations, large industries are always getting attacked for these sorts of things, okay? At this point, President Trump has been the president. He has gotten out of his presidency, and the entire time of his administration and today, he has been attacked. Now, think about this. For 2.5 years, these same people were involved in Russian collusion. They tried to convince the world and the media pushed this, suggesting that President Trump One, because of Russian interference, and none of this was true. It was absolutely untrue. This was an opportunity for them to hang a dark cloud over the president. And think about this. The mainstream media, the Democrats, the left, tech giants, all these people perpetuated a lie. They perpetuated a lie that Russia was somehow involved in the victory of President Trump. No, what it was is when Democrats lose, they can't accept the loss. They can't accept the fact that they lost, because how in the world could anyone vote for President Trump? You'd have to be dumb. And that's the whole premise of their argument, right? You know how we talk about popularity. Popularity is the highest virtue to the left. It signals to them that people accept, acknowledge, appreciate, and value their worldview, their ideology, and their perspective, their philosophy and their worldview. And so popularity to them is so pivotal. And when they get shot down, when they don't have the influence, when they don't have the power, when they don't have the ability to influence people, they get angry and they get upset. Now, this thing is being perpetrated across the board. The Daily Beast, NBC News, The Hill, Deadline. We have NBC News. We have Deadline, of course, New York Times. And then we have other news periodicals, The Hill, Axios, of course, Reuters. All of them just pushing this narrative. And they are going to continue to push these sorts of narratives because they have to make sure that President Trump does not run in 2024, or at least hamper it, or at least hamstring it. But no sitting president has ever been indicted. But this is not going to stop this attorney general. This isn't going to stop the left. This isn't going to stop the Democrats from trying to continue to pursue President Trump. And what's interesting about this misinformation and disinformation is that as of this recording, which is on Wednesday, January the 19th, we see this article from CNBC. Some Americans blocked from ordering Biden's free COVID test and early website launch. What do you mean Biden's free COVID test? This has nothing to do with Joe Biden, and the tests aren't free. They are they are paid by taxpayers. These are tax-funded tests that have nothing to do with Joe Biden. Joe Biden is putting his name on it, surrounding himself with this information like the terrible and deadly exit of Afghanistan so that he can have a feather in his cap saying that he ended the Afghanistan war. This man and the optics and the establishment that put him there are the most ridiculous groups of individuals engaged in culture war, misinformation, and disinformation. You can see it from the headline right here. Biden's free COVID test? You think Joe Biden paid for this? Do you think that the pharmaceutical companies, out of their generosity, are giving these tests away for free? No. This is why the establishment had to be put in place. Particularly part of that establishment being, of course, the pharmaceutical companies who are making untold amounts of money right now. Not only that, as they continue to perpetuate boosters, additional shots, testing, pill form of COVID relief, all these sorts of things, it's absolutely astonishing. But of course, the key figure here was that NPR got owned so badly that it was so worth bringing this to your guys' attention because this is absolutely phenomenal. And I can appreciate it, and I'm sure you guys will as well. And that's what I had for you guys today for this Wednesday, January the 19th.